How's everyone doing? It's my day off today. Super Bowl Sunday 2017. Basically, I just wanted to make this video. I'm going to use this channel for book reviews. That's what I like doing. I like reading. It's probably my biggest hobby. I read like crazy. And I don't know, just one day I woke up and was like, why don't I start reviewing books? But I was going to show you all the different books I got, my little collection, all the stuff I've read. I'm going to do a review for each book, but first, let's see, got just magazines, Doors, Secret Societies, History Magazine, Marijuana Legalization by Time Magazine. It was just Death of Prince. I was a big Prince fan. National Geographic, all these tunnels they found under London. These are my shelves. This little case here, I got from a liquor store. Actually, I got it for free, which is pretty awesome. It's got a little light up there. This is like Atlantis, 2 books on Atlantis, King Solomon, Mythology, got the Odyssey, Greek mythology, Nostradamus, 2 books on him, I read one, Encyclopedia of Haunted Places, Poltergeist. This is probably one of my biggest things I'm into. I got a couple Zachariah Sitchin, like Ancient Astronaut Theory, Epic of Gilgamesh, read that. Eric von Däniken, I flew through half of those. Mothman Prophecies, awesome book. Interrupted Journey was pretty much like first UFO account, first biggest one. I think it was like the 50s or 60s or something. Whitley Strieber. This is all Youthology and Ancient Astronaut Theory and stuff. Down here, I built a little Sphinx, Sphinx in Giza. I don't know, I'm a nerd like that. This is like Egyptian stuff, Tutankhamun, Christ in Egypt, for anybody who likes zeitgeist and the whole, basically growing up and finding out, oh, Horus is Jesus, Jesus' horse. Egyptian religion, this is an Egyptian book. Cleopatra, I read a book on her last year. This little section is just Bermuda Triangle. I've read one of those. Down here is a bunch of occult books, like this is Scrying Bowl, a bunch of tarot cards, White Sage, spell books, runes. I got a pendulum somewhere in there. I don't know, I like fooling around with that stuff. I wouldn't say I believe in all that stuff 100%, but it's fun to play around. I got up here, this is all Hunter S. Thompson. My favorite writer. I've read a bunch of his stuff. Paradise Lost, Carl Sagan's Contact, Helter Skelter, Fight Club, Great Gatsby, Bill Hicks, my favorite stand-up comedian. This is Philip K. Dick, 2 of his books, Minority Report and Scanner Darkly, which they made a movie on, which was amazing. This is some more, like, let's see over here, this is Skull and Bones, Hiram Key, Jack the Ripper. This is like conspiracy theory stuff, secret societies. World War II. This little section's like Holy Grail stuff. Got Da Vinci Code, some Christian propaganda trying to promote Jesus. I mean, it was a good book. It was like 100 pages. I picked it up and read it, and they're talking about how Mithras was dated like after or during the time that Jesus was supposed to be alive. But I noticed that they never mentioned Horus. Like, Horus is like the smoking gun on that Jesus copied, ancient tales, earlier tales, and they never mentioned him. And I was just kind of reading. I was like, that's funny. Left him out. Edgar Cayce, he's a local writer, or was a local writer in Kentucky. Some of his stuff is kind of outlandish, in my opinion, like a lot of channeling and stuff. And I don't know, I just kind of look at that stuff skeptically. I mean, I fool around with it because it's fun. I like to fool around with occult stuff, but he doesn't really base his writings on anything like visions and stuff. So, Native American mythologies. This is a Serpent Mound. Actually went there this year and bought a book while I was there. It's an amazing place. It felt like a pilgrimage going. I think everybody should go. It's in Ohio. But it got some Eskimo and Native American mythology, Celtic mythology, Saint Brendan, which is like a Christian legend. It was actually really good. A lot of good philosophy in there. I'm not like really Christian or anything, but I do still read about it. I was raised Christian and my dad was a preacher, so I'm still interested. This is Hope After Faith. It's probably the only atheist book I have. I haven't read it yet. This whole section from here over is like, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's like Christian stuff. Book of Lilith, which was the first wife of Adam. A lot of people don't know about her, which they should. Some Revelation conspiracy stuff on the Christian Revelation. I don't really believe in most of it, but Shroud of Turin, I read that. That was an awesome book. This is about like artifacts and stuff, Christian artifacts, like Lost Ark of the Covenant, Shroud of Turin. I love reading that type of stuff. Bible Code, I haven't read it yet. It looks pretty cool. Basically, like codes in the Bible that talk, told about JFK's assassination before it happened, Twin Towers, like prophecies in the Bible that were in codes, like the original Hebrew, which is cool. Secret Archives of the Vatican. I don't know. I've always wondered what was there ever since watching like Da Vinci Code. I don't know. It's like probably the biggest source of like literature and information we're not allowed to see, since the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, which is horrible to think and know that all that ancient knowledge is just gone. Like, we look at ancient history and stuff, and I mean, we're just kind of guessing on half of it. Like, what happened? We don't really know what happened here or here or here. Well, I mean, there was papyrus, and scrolls and stuff. Like a huge library, the biggest library on the face of the earth. And it got destroyed during warfare. Like, I'm passionate about reading and literature and trying to expand knowledge and learn what's going on in this crazy blue marble sailing through space. This is some J.R.R. Tolkien. I actually got into reading really big. You have to excuse my junk. Got into reading really big on him when I was a kid. I remember my dad would make us read the Bible like every day, and I'd be in my room reading Tolkien and have the Bible like right next to it. And he'd come in and I'd pull out the Bible real quick and, "What you doing?" Just reading. Like, I remember I kind of snuck these books in because he was super against like Harry Potter and that huge craze when Harry Potter first started coming out. He was like against it, so I was like, fuck. So I was sneaking in Tolkien books under my shirt and stuff, and because it had wizards and stuff. But even though the writer was Christian, we kind of convinced him of that later, and we got to actually watch the movies and stuff, and he was cool with it then. But I got a lot of his stuff. The trilogy, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, a newer book, Children of Hurin, that his son kind of finished off for him. Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, Chronicles of Narnia. I got some books over here, some punk rock books. Lobotomy by Dee Dee Ramone. Sex Pistols. I grew up in Florida and was a part of the Florida punk scene. These are my girlfriend's books. These are my girlfriend's books too. Pretty much from here down. But and then we got, let's see, a little shelf over here. Just randomness. That's pretty much. I got original Jim Morrison poetry book, which is pretty freaking awesome. I got it cheap too. These are just random textbooks. This, I always buy a book every time I go to Dollar General. Random cheap paperback. I've actually read several of these, kind of like a bubble gum for the brain, pretty much, whenever you're tired of reading something like history or ancient history or something, and sometimes it wears on you and you're like, man, I just want to read something quick and fun. So I have tons of little trade paperback novels because they're cheap and gives you a break from reading huge tomes. Basically what I'm reading now is a huge tome. Le Morte d'Arthur. I kind of got into it. I picked it up. It was like $8 from this book dealer in Harrodsburg, which town over from me. He's an awesome dude. His name's Sampson. He's an antique dealer and stuff. But I got tons of books from him. That's pretty much where I got, a lot of my collection. But yeah. So next video will be a book review. But keep watching. Tune in.